Okay, so we've got the theory of practice, we've got the theory of change, we've considered kind of very broadly the kind of programs that will support this vision, this change that we foresee. Now we're going to actually start looking at what must these programs look like? How do we design, how do we manage, and how do we assess programs? And I do want to speak to NGO expectations, funder expectations, who designs, who manages, who implements, who measures. That's the kind of stuff I want to deal with in this session. So the first thing I want to ask before you make a single decision is, what do you want to be known for? Because I think we've got into a trap that we just see ourselves as investors. We give money. And that's actually not true. So your positioning, and this relates back to the theory of change, what we see ourselves do is a very important aspect. Do you want to see yourselves as a service provider, as a delivery mechanism, as an implementer, as a facilitator, as a collaborator, as a systems change agent? Because it's going to speak to the outcomes or the change that you foresee. Let me give you an example. So if you think about, for instance, F&B at the moment. Now, First National is not known. If I had to ask you today, so how much do they spend on CSI? What would you tell me? We've got no idea. Because they have not seen themselves as an investor. Now think about the Beyond Painting Classrooms initiative. So they saw themselves as a capacity building. That's their contribution to the industry. They didn't say, with Beyond Painting Classrooms, you know, we're going to change the whole world. Their whole theory of change, their whole theory of practice is, we can do greater good if we capacitate employee volunteerism. If we give practitioners that knowledge, that skill, both on the investment side and on the NGO side. And so they've invested, yes, there is a brand around it. But if you think about it, there's not a single program that you can say that was funded by F&B. Because that is very deliberately, if you think back about the brand, how can we help? So how can we help was translated in the social investment spaces. How can we help the industry? No funding. You can't go there and say, give me money for an employee volunteer program or for an... It doesn't work like that. It's a collective, collaborative kind of approach. That was their positioning. So they want to focus on a capacity kind of building environment. Now, some of you, I think Richard mentioned, and I know Tiger Brands has mentioned it as well, we've realized when it came to monitoring evaluation, we can't expect it because they're not ready for it. But we will fund that. So that's a capacity building kind of approach. So I'm just saying we tend to think about ourselves as investors only. And that's actually not true. Now, when we worked with the Northwest University, they don't have money for CSI. There isn't, it's an academic institution, it's an institution of high. So where's the money going to come from to do all these kind of things? So their position was rather say, as a facilitator to bring the NGO sector and the corporate sector together. Or we want to facilitate knowledge because we're an academic institution, we create knowledge. Contribution going to be, and there's a value behind that. But not all organizations have money to give, especially if you look at the SME sector. And there's a lot of resources locked in there. Some people don't have the cash. Let me give you my company as an example. I do pro bono work. Because I can't charge NGOs. But it doesn't lessen my contribution. So I give of time and of skill, because I don't have the cash. Can you see what I'm saying? That's the point that I want to make, but it doesn't mean there's no value behind it, because I can clearly cost every hour, every day, I do that. And if I have to turn that into a percentage of turnover, I think I surpass a lot of corporates. So I'm just saying, don't just think 1% and we're an investor. Think about what other value you can add. And that's just the point that I wanted to make here.